Dominator, folks. We're back. It is draft Sunday. The Dominator will be drafting every single Sunday between here and kickoff. Now, I am joined today by my old co-host, Bradley Stalder, who has now been taking on more responsibility at Player Profiler. He is now the new director of the news desk. Bradley, congratulations. He is also the co-host of Man vs. Machine. He is also the host of Stack Finders on the Player Profiler Network. Excited to have you on the podcast tonight, Bradley. Always love recording with you, and excited to jump into our FFPC $125 Best Ball draft.
Pleasure's all mine, Billy. This has been a great experience so far. The last about 2 months on Player Profiler.
Yeah, man. I'm always excited to get you more involved here. You and I had started our football endeavor at the same time, doing rankings and projections, and started jumping into podcasting, of course. And here we are now, fast forward a few years, and we're on Player Profiler, one of the sites that we used a lot even before we joined the team. And now we get to promote a site that we used constantly. And of course, we get to do our best ball drafts while we're on the air and having fun on a good time on Sunday. Well, let's go ahead and pull up the board. We made our first pick. Let's get this thing pulled up. Perfect. And we will drop the overlay off, and we will get the background on, and we're good to go. Okay, so we are drafting from the 4-hole, everybody. And we wanted to get a little unique here. We talked on First Class Fantasy last week with Chad Schroeder about creating unique lineups and rosters. Chad's approach a little different than mine. Chad will wait and see what falls to him to create unique rosters, while I, on the other hand, will try to force a unique roster at times. Tonight is one of those nights. Bradley and I were texting before the draft, and I said, hey, we should try this Philly stack that nobody has in any tournament over at FFPC. It's not in the 125 Best Ball. It's not in the main event, because all these assholes always block you whenever you try to stack it. And that is the Philly stack with A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Devontae Smith. Someone always sees it, Bradley, and they always block you. How confident are you that we're going to get it tonight?
I'm like 20% confident.
That's a little more than I am.
maybe less. Yeah, this was one where I almost felt embarrassed. You texted me after I asked, hey, like, we're at the 104. What are you thinking? And you texted back the Philly stack. And I wanted to say, text back that this was what we should try, something unique. Cause I know you like your unique builds, but I was afraid that you were like, no, Bradley, like, that's just too spicy. AJ Brown had to be the 104, because of this. Usually I'm clicking like Tyreek Hill at this spot at the 104. Hill goes 105 in this draft, but AJ Brown at the 104 to get, nope. And we don't even get it. We don't even get it.
Fucking assholes, man. They're like, nope, you ain't doing it.
Not today. Not today. Well,
wow.
So much
middle
that.
Of the second, they even said no. Yeah, oh my gosh.
To stack to dial up with Cooper Kupp here, Billy.
What the hell, man? This thing is impossible to get, dude. No one lets you get it. Who is that
drafting
guy?
Brown at the 104 is the place where you're gonna have to get him. I mean, you could go AJ Brown and then take Hurts at like, I don't know, the 110, 2-3, but then there's no chance that Devonta Smith falls back to you at the 310. So that's the problem, is that usually Devonta Smith is the one.
God, it's so painful to try this every time.
Try to push up AJ Brown, still can't get the job done.
Okay, so I'm open to Waddle here. I like Waddle, but it's pretty commonly owned with AJ Brown. I'm fine with it because we're not going to have many Waddle Olave teams or Waddle Devonta Smith.
Are we going to have a lot of Brown Devonta Smith teams?
Yeah. So I'm punching it into Devonta Smith off, and we got to take out Hurts. Just keep an eye on the timer for me, and let's just get Waddle in there just in case. Okay.
Yeah.
So Stack Finder, we have Waddle and AJ Brown. There is only a total of 10 total. I think we take it.
15. Okay.
You good with Waddle?
Yeah, let's go Waddle. I like Waddle this year.
Okay, let's go Waddle. So now we're we're one of 11 teams. So let's try to get unique on the third pick here and see if we're able to. So let's just preemptively throw some names in the stack finder to see if they come back. It would be nice if Olave came back. I doubt he will, though. And Olave with Waddle in there. Let's see how many are owned. That's 0 with AJ Brown. So that just shows you if Olave comes back, that'd be phenomenal, but it's probably unlikely. So let's put in Devonta Smith with Waddle. Also 0 owned. Okay.
Probably Taylor's going to be pretty popular.
Yeah, I have some doubts about Taylor.
Yeah, we just got reports today that he might get another ankle surgery.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that would really screw it up. So Jonathan Taylor is a straight avoid for me until we hear positive news.
Okay. How about some other names? Higgins, Gibbs, Metcalf.
I like Gibbs. I'm okay with Higgins as a wide receiver 3.
Okay, 2 teams actually own Waddle, Brown, and Gibbs. So let's take him off the list for a second. Who are you okay with? You said wide receiver 3?
I'm okay with T. Higgins as a wide receiver 3.
Okay, Higgins, let's check it. We'd be unique with Higgins. So we'd be unique with Higgins, Olave, and Devonta Smith. That gives us a pretty good chances with what's been selected off the board. I'm going to throw Metcalf in here as another option to see. Wow, actually, 2 teams have Metcalf with all 3 too, so we got to take him off the board. Well, let's hope that either Olave, Devonta Smith, or T. Higgins come back.
There are 4 picks between us, and 3 of those are unique selections. So I'd say our chances are like 60, 70%.
Yep, pretty good.
Olave goes off. Yep.
2 players still.
We're just waiting it out here. This is the fun part of the uniqueness at the beginning because
1 player left.
We see the triple wide receiver tap from the 101.
Okay, so let's start looking at some other possibilities here. So we have, of course, a
Calvin Ridley
is Dolphins and Philly. Yep. So Dolphins week 17 have is it Baltimore?
Baltimore. So Lamar Jackson is there.
Okay, and then
Philly has Arizona.
That's gross. We're not doing that in round 3.
Nope.
Okay, we still got one more chance here with T. Higgins for unique lineup. We could push up Lamar. So we have a chance to take T to be unique here. I'm just curious.
I have a lot of Jalen, Waddle, and Lamar Jackson builds.
Okay, and there's also 2 owned. So let's go ahead and go T. Higgins and get unique. Yeah. And then that gives us 3 receiver start and it allows us to get anything
0 or B possible. We could, lots of flexibility.
Okay, T. Higgins selected. We are officially unique at pick 3, which is always nice. So we are the first team in the tournament in the FFPC $125 Best Ball tournament that has AJ Brown, Waddle, and T. Higgins. We'll talk about the players that we want to select on our upcoming build here in round 4, shortly after we get a word from our sponsor, which is our very own draft kit at Player Profiler. And you're going to hear from Matt Kelly on why you should be getting that draft kit because it is the best in the business.
Hey, it's the Podfather. I have great news. The 2023 draft kit is live. It is world famous. Why? Because it is the best resource for winning fantasy football championships that exists. There are rankings and cheat sheets for every format you can imagine. We have projections both at the team level and the player level. And wherever you are, you can click on a player, open them up, and see in-depth written analysis about what to expect in fantasy football from that player this year. And then you can click on the team, and you can get even more in-depth analysis, all the drivers of fantasy production, both in a positive and negative direction for that team, including a signature trend. And the graphics are incredible. So these team insights, they give you the team level projections, the vacated targets, the vacated areas, and that one dynamic for each team that you need to know when making decisions on draft day. And we added a bunch of features. Individual cheat sheets for Theo and Billy and Dario. So you could take your favorite analyst and download their personal draft cheat sheet. And then in the commissioners section, also brand new this year, Memphis Young lays out everything you need to know to manage a league, do's, don'ts, tips, and what the more innovative fantasy commissioners are doing this year. That's presented by Trophy Smack. The whole package is presented by the Fantasy Football Players Championship, the FFPC, Ray Garvin, Derek Brown, the best minds in the industry contributing analysis. It's certainly not the most inexpensive draft kit on the market, but it is the best. Playerprofiler.com/draft kit. Playerprofiler.com/draft kit. Go get it.
Go get it. So speaking of Trophy Smack at the end with the commissioner section, Bradley, I just got my draft kit for my home league from Trophy Smack. Has the board ready to rock and roll. Taking out the boys to pizza. We're getting some beer. Going to be drafting here in town. We're playing a round of golf before. It's going to be a great day, by the way. So we're playing 18. 4 of us are at least. And then we're going to, right from playing 18, we're going to head out to the car, drive down the hill, and then we're going to do our draft. So sounds like a pretty long, boring day. That's like a dream day, right?
It's great. It is the dream. Living the dream, Billy.
So I'm excited. I haven't even opened this thing yet. I kind of want to open it like right now and look at it, but I'm going to wait.
I haven't
so
drafted.
Easier to like move it around when it's not open.
I haven't drafted with my home league in person ever.
Really?
No.
Like ever?
Isn't that funny?
What?
All the guys like live in Texas, and like one year I thought about like flying down to Texas and like being able to do it, but we were it just didn't work out.
You got to start like a teacher league, and you get draft in your classroom or something. Set it up on the board, get it up there. You guys could have like a math test or something for your like whoever gets the highest grade gets first pick. Have you seen like the videos out there where they have like a Olympics at home where like they like shoot a basketball, they'll throw a beanbag. What is it called? Where cornhole? They'll do cornhole. Yeah. And then you do all these different like things, like you dive in the pool, swim across the pool. There's all these like different like skill sets that you have to do. Run a 40, right? And then they time you, and then whoever has the fastest time gets the 101 for all these things. Like flip cups in there, and it's a pretty cool way to determine the draft order, actually.
Yeah, there's some pretty creative ways to determine that. My home league is boring. We just reverse standings every year. So
even with redraft?
Yeah.
Oh man. So I want to do a fun one, but we're going to be like at the pizza place. So do I want to do like the fastest beer chug? Like gets the first 101, right? Like,
well, with all the beers I was chugging at the expo, I'm well practiced. Let's make that happen.
Like normally we just draw names out of a hat, but I want to get a little creative this year. We are in redraft, so we don't reverse the standings in redraft, but we do just random name pull. For the last 3 years, the same guy has pulled the 101 out of the hat, and he always picks he picked Cooper Kupp when he got injured. He picked CMC when he got injured. He picked Jonathan Taylor. Like every year he picks the 101 who gets injured. So I was like, if I've been asking him this year, if you have the 101, who are you picking? Because I'm going to avoid him.
What did he say?
He did say Justin Jefferson. I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't do it to him, please. No.
They talk about the Madden curse, but
this is the Blake Chappelle curse.
Blake Chappelle curse.
Yeah. It's a real thing, man. Like every year, like everyone laughs. Like if he draws a 101 this year, I'm probably gonna be so scared, like just because it just keeps happening every single year. I should just put like all 107s in there, let him pick, and then like change the new hat over. All right, we're coming up. We're 2 picks away. So throw out a few names: Hopkins, Watson.
Yeah, I don't think Cooper will make it, but I mean, mid-round 4 Cooper, he's going mid-round 3rd, back end of the 3rd in most drafts.
Yeah, I don't own a lot of Cooper. There he goes. Yep.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Hopkins or Watson.
Oh, either one of them I have a lot of, so I'm happy with either.
Okay.
I like Watson as an ascending high-end wide receiver 2. Hopkins is still a target share gobbler, so we've gone 3 wide receivers already. I mean, we'll probably get
5.
a quarterback. we could go 5. I think we lock in Watson here. I like Watson.
Okay. Watson gives us 1 degree of separation from 2 teams and 2 degrees separation from anybody else in the field. So that's still That's still good. So we can go ahead and lock in Watson. We don't really have any stacks going yet, but
That's okay.
I'm okay with it. Yeah, late round
We've
stacks
got
I'm
some
good
later comebacks. We've got some later bringbacks.
We were just talking about how stacking is a little overrated with Chad Schroeder. People are reaching for stacks, dropping tiers for stacks, going above and beyond to get a stack when in actuality they may have passed up, 2 or 3 or even 4 better players. What's your thought process on that?
Yeah, when it comes to stacks, I mean, when you're in the mid to upper rounds, I am looking for a correlation within tiers and stacking within tiers, but you're right. You don't want to reach outside of that. If you're reaching more than 12 spots, like that is an absolute no-no versus ADP, in my opinion. So that's you. Like if you're looking for an absolute, I'm not going to go more than 12 spots. But I also am considering how stacks will sometimes fall to me anyways. Like that's also something to keep in mind. Like you don't need to push a stack, especially like if you've got, I have done this a couple times where I've drafted Tyreek Hill and then Jaylen Waddle. No one else is going to be targeting Tua in round 9 or 10 or whatever. And so I can push him about a round, even though he's my stack, and I don't need to reach for him there. If anything, no one's motivated to take Tua, and I'm the one who wants him and will probably stack with him. So as long as he doesn't become perceived as too much of a value, then I'm making that click.
Okay, we are on deck here. We still have Hopkins in our queue. Looks like he might make it back to us, although this guy does look like he needs a receiver here in the 3-hole. It looks like he only has Chase, Henry, JT, and Burrow. That being said, Breece Hall might be enticing for him here in the beginning of the 5th round.
Yeah, I think round 5, Breece Hall is where I've been clicking him a lot more. Yeah, Hopkins.
And he took Hopkins. Of course he did. So the question is, do we continue to push our 0 receiver build, which I'm comfortable doing? I kind of want to see how far Breece Hall falls. I've been seeing him fall a little bit. I'm also okay if we want to take Goddard just to have a little mini stack with A.J. Brown, although I prefer a receiver here. I either would like to go Deontay, Mike Williams, or Chris Godwin, but I'm open for discussion here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I like Deontay in full PPR. He's gonna still get the target share. So I would push, although there's been reports that Keenan Allen's gonna be playing a lot more on the outside and Mike Williams gets slot snaps.
That's the
so I why don't we go with, this is best ball. Let's go Mike Williams here. I think that he's
shoot for the moon.
Yeah, let's go. And then we
I
get some
own
late
less
Denver.
Mike Williams.
We get some late Denver correlation. We can get some late Minnesota correlation. We can get some late Kansas City correlation or Baltimore. We've got a lot of bringbacks. So I think we can focus on running backs, tight ends, and quarterbacks here in round 6 and following, because there's going to be some nice wide receiver value, I think, coming up in rounds 9, 10, 11.
We are back to 3 degrees of separation from any team in the tournament. It looks like there are a total of 13 teams that have 3 of our 5. And then the field is either 2 or 1 of our total amount of players that we've selected. So we have some good separation from the teams. Let's go back to Breece Hall, because I'm curious. He's,
Sure.
Of course, we know Dalvin Cook, of course, signed, and this kind of muddied up the waters, I should say, in this backfield. I did my projections. Breece Hall dropped outside the top 20 at the position for me, just simply because they don't need to rely on him. That being said, he has the talent. He is very explosive. If we didn't have a Dalvin Cook here and we didn't have an injury, he could potentially be going as, a top 3 RB, RB2, RB3, probably within a real possibilities inside drafts that he didn't have this ACL injury. But here we are. We know he does have that ACL injury. He's recovering, and he now has competition for targets with Dalvin Cook in this backfield. Where are you comfortable selecting him? Where does he fall in your projections and rankings? And what do you think is a realistic outcome for him come into season and down the stretch?
Yeah, so I think Breece Hall is a player that it depends on the game you're playing. If you're in a redraft league, I think he needs to fall a little bit more to mid round 6 into round 7, because you know that he's a liability at the beginning of the season. The reason why they brought in Dalvin Cook was twofold. One, because Dalvin Cook might still have some juice left, and two, because Aaron Rodgers obviously wanted Dalvin Cook to be on this team. You know, they paid him a decent amount of money. With Breece Hall still recovering from his injury, at least Breece Hall is getting to practice in. But there's been some video clips out there where Hall has been thrown passes, for instance, from Aaron Rodgers, but it looks like he's running at like 30, 40, 50% speed. He doesn't look like he's full go. Just from the eye test, he looks good, but not fast. And my projections, I already had Breece Hall only projected for a 40% rush share and an 8% target share, but that total got him to 155 half PPR fantasy points. That would probably get him into the back end of running back 2, probably high end running back 3, like as we look season long. But from a tournament,
I do.
Yeah. So from a tournament perspective, though, I think Breece Hall could be a league winner still. He's got the juice. He would be more than a year removed from the ACL tear. And if we're talking week 15, 16, 17, Dalvin Cook has dealt with this shoulder injury for 2 consecutive seasons. It has hampered his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. And last year, Breece Hall was running back, running back 7 in fantasy points per game before the injury. And he only had a 54% touch share in that backfield. So he was splitting it about 50-50 with Michael Carter even before that injury and was still putting up elite numbers. So I don't want to fade him too much in these tournaments because he has immense upside. But in the redraft formats, that's very different. And you're going to want to wait a little bit because we have to be concerned about the beginning of the season.
Can you walk me through the totals real quick? What do you have rush share?
40% rush share, 171 rush attempts.
I'm at 172. Wow,
yeah.
Look at that. Mind meld.
Yeah.
How about targets?
I have him at 52 targets.
Wow, we're on the fucking money, dude.
Let's go. So actually,
touchdowns is our difference then? Do you have 7.3 on the ground and I have 2.5 in the air?
I have, what number is that? It's a little over 5 on the ground and
that's what our difference
2
is
receiving.
So we're 2 touchdowns on the ground difference.
So actually 167.5 with the adjustment I made, but 167.5 half point PPR. That gets him to like back end running back 2. I think that seems about the right range.
All right. Let's go ahead and bury the hatchet with Breece Hall off the discussion list. Now we are on deck. Jackson Smith-Njigba keeps climbing. We have 5
Did you see
receivers
the play
right now.
last year or last night from Drew Lock?
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
That was a good throw by Drew Lock. Madison's on the board. Rashad White's on the board. Chris Godwin's still on the board. I am avoiding J.K. Dobbins as of now.
Really interesting. He's a target for me.
Yeah, we can discuss more about that one a little bit later, but not on the call right now. But we have Madison, who he has a stack with Green Bay.
He does.
Does
Tampa doesn't fit with that's
anybody.
New Orleans. Rams are the Giants. Baltimore, Miami. We've got the Miami correlation there. And James Conner, Arizona, with AJ Brown. So we've got some running back correlation.
This is a little bit later for Madison. I'm not crazy about Madison, but if we're going to own him, this is where we're going to own him. What about you?
Sure, I'm fine with Madison. He's not an exciting player. I think he's just a guy, but let's click him in.
Okay, it gives us a little stack for now. I think you kind of want to stack a little bit of Green Bay. We can get Jordan Love on this offense. We can go Madison. I think Green Bay's gonna be better than people think.
I like your optimism, Billy.
Dude, I really do.
I think you're building me up. You're buttering me up for this podcast.
What's your line? If you had to set a line for wins, where are you putting it today? Not Vegas lines, Bradley lines.
Over under 6.5.
Oh, I'd take the over. I'll take 7.
Yeah, I think though maybe 6.5 to 7. I think is the. I don't know. I'm not comfortable with going more than that. I think the defense will keep them in games in the first half of the season, but the coach speak has been so terrible about Jordan Love and from the GM too. I mean, they renegotiated his 5th-year option. The coaches have come out and said that they want the defense to lead.
He's looking
and they
pretty
want to
good,
lean.
though.
They want to lean heavily on the defense, and they're big. They've got one big playmaker with Christian Watson. Jaden Reed is decent, but he's still a rookie, and they've got some nice low A-dot players.
Romeo's
AJ
been looking
Dillon.
really good.
Romeo is
preseason.
garbage.
He's been looking good, dude. I liked Romeo a lot last year. I liked him more than Watson.
You
last
liked
year.
the worst graded wide receiver in the NFL.
I did. I don't know. I had something about his tape I just liked. And then I liked him more than Watson. It was looking really good until Watson went on that 7-game streak where he couldn't not score a touchdown. And then now I like both of them. It's dangerous in drafts for me. I see Watson there and in Dubs. I think they're gonna be sneaky good, honestly. So this is where we can look at one. We can look at another running back. We could go Akers, David Montgomery. We could go Alvin Kamara. We could go DeAndre Swift with Philly.
We've got options. I am always a DeAndre Swift stan.
Let's go. You don't need to talk me into Swift. Especially in best ball. You know how I am with Swift. Yeah, are you going to Swift then?
I'm lock him in, Billy.
Let's go. I got him in round 8 the other day in best ball, which was awesome. I got him at the 8-4.
Oh yeah, I've been getting him in the mid 80s on DraftKings.
Yeah,
85, almost 90. I think I got him at 89 one day.
I can't play on DraftKings. They don't have their fantasy activated in Oregon because they bought the sports book and made him a deal to shut down the fantasy to buy the sports book because the whole debate on what was legal, what wasn't legal, and they decided to remove DraftKings fantasy from Oregon in order to acquire the sports book, which I'm like, really? Couldn't we do it the opposite?
Yeah, no.
Couldn't we keep fantasy DraftKings and just have FanDuel Sportsbook? That would have been sweet, but no.
Last year, DeAndre Swift, despite having so many of those running back 30 games, he was tied with Tony Pollard at running back 9 overall in rate of top 5 weeks.
Oh,
this
he's
is a
phenomenal.
Week running back for sure. And on a Philly offense, all he needs is really 3 big, huge games, which if Swift can get the Miles Sanders role from last year, Swift is better than Sanders. So give me DeAndre Swift.
The other thing I've been liking to do lately is because Gainwell goes so cheap in this contest is you can take them both with round 7 or 8 capital for Swift and then either round 10 or 11 capital for Gainwell. And 10 would be reaching a bit, but it secures you both backs inside of this Phillies offense. And then you don't really have to worry about it on a week-to-week basis because, of course, we're in best ball. But they both have significant upside, and we've been seeing reports about Gainwell being a feature back. Swift, of course, we know with the explosiveness. Penny, there's been discussions about possibly being cut, which would really narrow down the touch competition.
Trey Sermon gets a 53-man roster spot over Rashad Penny. That's the report right now.
That's the report, and that's what we're thinking, and I could see it happening. I mean, there's no money right now to Penny, so they could easily move on from him and no harm, no foul, and move on with DeAndre Swift and Gainwell. If that report came out, let's just say tomorrow, how high does DeAndre Swift move, and how high does Gainwell move?
Swift moves, I think, ahead of Breece Hall. I think in that Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall tier. So mid-round 5.
And then Gainwell, who's been going as RB45 lately, which is, I mean, you can get him pretty comfortably in round 11, like clockwork. Where does he move?
Gainwell still is behind Samaje Perine, I think. I think he'd still be behind Zach Charbonnet.
No. I think he's already ahead of Charbonnet.
I think I would probably put him between Charbonnet and A-Chain at that spot.
With no shoulder, A-Chain?
Yeah, evidently. I don't know. Have we gotten more clarity about the shoulder injury he left with?
As of tonight, of us recording the time that we're recording, this will be live tomorrow. People are viewing it. There's probably going to be clarity tomorrow. But as of tonight, us recording, there is not clarity.
Yeah, but even so, I've been drafting Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert very heavily. Both are in the double digits of rostership for me in best ball. So I've been... give me the cheaper options on players that we saw produce double-digit fantasy points pretty much every week when they were healthy last year. And when both of them were in the game, they still could coexist. So I'm in on taking late round shots on Wilson and Mostert, just seeing who sticks.
This is why it's so hard for me to draft running back early this year. When you can get somebody like Rachaad White, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Cam Akers, or Alvin Kamara in round 7, why would you ever select somebody in the first 2 or 3 rounds outside of being unique and maybe, increasing ownership? But if you were doing one team, one bullet, Bradley, I think it's a mistake to draft running back early this year based upon the running backs that you can get in round 6 and 7.
Well, it's another reason why I've been pushing Bijan to the second round. Like, I've only drafted Bijan Robinson shares in a round 2. I've still been getting like 6% of Bijan, but like if I'm taking a second round running back, it's like Tony Pollard and Bijan Robinson. I'm not willing to take a lot of McCaffrey or Eckler round 1 because you'll see some of the value fall even in round 2. But then, like, we have so many questions about these round 3, round 4, round 5 running backs. Like, they all have flaws in them, which is why they're falling a little bit. But there are fewer flaws with the wide receivers, and they'll, especially with how this is a PPR, this full PPR. If the running backs have flaws in them, they're probably not going to be the pass catching running backs. So I do like starting pretty wide receiver heavy, and if it's 0 RB start, so be it.
So speaking of pass catching running backs, there's 3 in the league that I think could potentially have 100 targets. Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler. I'm going to throw one more name in the hat that might be a bit of a surprise to folks, but that is Saquon Barkley. I recently did my most up-to-date projections update based upon some news. And Barkley, Bradley, do you want to guess how far he moved up in my running back rankings?
Is he running back 2 for you?
Number 1 now. He actually passed Christian McCaffrey. I know that he has not eclipsed 100 targets since his rookie campaign, where they believe he had 121. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's around there. That being said, I think this could be the year that he has another 100 targets. We know that he's got a second year with Dable. We know that there's no receivers really worth mentioning on this team. Pick 15 from the hat, and they're probably all still going to suck. Darren Waller, pretty active in this offense. I'd say between him and Waller, probably the only 2 that are going to have 100 targets in the side of this passing attack. And outside of that, we know that there's not a lot of competition on the ground either for Barkley, and we expect the offensive line to be a little bit more improved. So Barkley, for me, the clear number 1 in the offense, probably going to see close to 60% of the total rushing attempts, if not more. Probably going to see a ton of passing work.
Billy, are you just looking at my projections? Because I think you're just copying my projections.
Do you have him as 1-2 now?
No, I had him at 60% rush share. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. It's Barkley is
I have 284 rush attempts for Barkley, 60%, 9 rushing touchdowns, almost 1,300 yards.
Hold on. Slow down. I'm going to my positions. Sorry. Say that again.
60% rush share.
Okay.
284 rush attempts, almost 1,300 rush yards, 9 rush touchdowns, 65 targets though. So I'm not quite at the 100 targets.
We're on the clock.
We could do the comeback with Addison. We could also
do the comeback with Addison. We could stack with Tua. Those are the 2 I was leaning to. Great.
I think we push Tua.
Yep, and go Addison for the receiver because of worst case scenario, we
can get the comeback around with Zay Flowers if we don't come back either. Too.
Yeah,
either
we
way.
Get Zay, get Kirk Cousins even the way back. So let's go.
This
Addison.
Is great.
Yeah,
perfect.
It gets us a lot of options. Addison's locked. Okay, so you have 284 rushing attempts. I have 281.
Oh.
I have 1192 on rushing yards and 10.7 rushing touchdowns. So that's where we're slightly different as touchdowns and slightly different in yards, but it pretty much washes in total points.
Yeah.
Target share is probably where I'm different than folks. I have him at 16.5 target share, which is 92 targets.
I have it 10.6, which is still respectable. Last year, Barkley had a bunch of 25% target share games. That was very interesting. But the reason why I'm not as bullish on the target share is because of Darren Waller. You mentioned Waller, and usually when a tight end who commands a target share comes into a new offense, that affects the pass catching running backs target share.
But will it with the receivers they have? That's the question, right? Because Waller might just be like the jumbo X receiver and be utilized all over the place for mismatches. And then they could continuously create screenplays or, flat plays for Barkley. And it might just be ran through the two of these guys where, like, I mean, really, would you rather throw the ball to Barkley or Waller or Paris Campbell, right? Would you rather throw it to Sterling Shepard or Wan'Dale Robinson or Darius Slayton? Probably not, right? And so, yeah, if they're open down the field or if they're, a lot of maybe, of course, if they're going to be open, we're going to throw it to them. But first look is probably Waller and Barkley, right? And
yeah. The only wide receiver I have with a higher target share than Saquon Barkley,
Hodgins.
No, I have two. I have Slayton at 12% target share, and then Hodgins at 10.9.
So I got Slayton at 10%, and I have Hodgins at 13.5. So we're a little different. But
yeah,
this is like, I mean, these receivers though, it's like pinning the tail on a donkey, blindfolded and hammered.
Slayton 10, Hodgins could be 10, Paris Campbell could be 10, Wan'Dale Robinson. I did discount Robinson for the pup list, so. And then Hyatt, I have at 10. Shepard should be healthy, wild enough. He should be healthy, like for 10%. It's just, yeah. So I don't have any player on this New York Giants offense with 100 targets.
I only have Waller with 100 targets. And then the next closest I have is Barkley.
I have Waller at 92. That's the closest I got.
So it looks like we're going to have some options here.
Yeah.
I'm actually hoping for Cousins because then we could get Jordan Love late. No, we got our picks here.
We got Tua or Cousins.
That line has been looking horrible in Miami. It's kind of scary, but we do have Waddle, but we don't really have any Baltimore pieces here. We could add Baltimore pieces later, like likely.
We could go A.J. Dillon with Green Bay.
We could go A.J. Dillon with Green Bay because we have Madison and Addison. We could push quarterback and see what happens because then we could take Love and somebody else later. I'm fine going that route, or you could take Kirk Cousins and lock in the Addison Kirk Cousins stack. I'm good either way. I'll let you pick.
Yeah, let's go Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
Let's go Kirk Cousins.
Gets us one kind of secure quarterback there.
Because with the Minnesota Vikings, I have them projected for – I have Cousins projected for 690 pass attempts.
Let me pull up mine 1 second. 690, you said?
Yeah.
690? So you have them like top 3 in the league then.
Yeah, they're one of the pass heaviest from last year. O'Connell put them on the map.
Yeah, I have them as like the 8th heaviest, but I don't have – so I have them at, 630?
Yep.
So we're 60 off. That's not that much off.
And Addison, I have 78 catches, 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's my projection for him. So I think Addison will step in pretty quickly to that Thielen role. Command a 15 to 20% target share.
Cousins, where's he coming for you? I have him right now at quarterback, actually 10.
I have him at 359 fantasy points. Let me look at
that's going to be probably like top 7.
Projections. Quarterbacks and tight ends. I didn't have them ranked on this document. Let me pull up the other document. Cousins I have at quarterback 9.
Quarterback 9, yeah. So we're right there together, 9 and 10.
Yeah.
Where do you have Hockenson? I'm starting to fade him lately, but the volume inside of this offense is one of those things that just props him up inside my projections.
Yeah, he's still tight end 3 for me, but where is he points wise? He is only 8-9 points ahead of Kyle Pitts in my projections.
Yeah, Waller and Hockenson keep flip-flopping in my rankings from 3 and 4, like with most updates.
I'm still, well, by my projections, you can surmise that I'm lower on Waller than the market.
I've assumed that based upon the discussion.
Well, that and my Twitter discussions with Theo Greminger.
Shout out to Theo.
Shout out to Theo.
Oh, look at my boy Romeo climbing up the charts, dude.
Holy crap.
I got him in round 14 in the main event.
Shoot.
That was
yeah, I would not take Romeo. Like Treylon Burks is still on the board. Give me Treylon Burks. Rashad Bateman's still on the board. Give me Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas, as gross as that is, give me Thomas over Dubs.
Yeah, I would take all three of those guys over Dubs too.
Oh, that's gross.
I draw the line there at Juju, though. I'd probably take Romeo over Juju.
Do you think Tua is going to make his way back to us?
It's very possible.
I mean, it's just the Tyreek Hill drafter, and he took Mahomes.
It's possible. It's going to be very hard to pass him up if he's there.
Yeah. Well, that would be falling at least a full round. And
yeah,
I've seen Tua fall. I've seen Trevor Lawrence fall 10, 12, 14 spots in some drafts.
I got Kirk Cousins at 11-3 the other day. That team is so stacked. I think I sent it to you. You were like, the mistakes were made in this draft by several people.
Some major mistakes. You keep sending me drafts, and you're like, Bradley, take a look at this draft. And I just say, holy crud, Billy. Are you drafting with minnows? Like,
when you draft every day, the chances of shit falling to you increases.
Well, Okonkwo is still out there, but on DraftKings, I just took Okonkwo at 180 overall.
He's kind of climbed back up after the Treylon Burks injury, even though Treylon Burks will be ready in time. Oh, there goes Tua. The auto drafter got us.
Ooh, sniped. Yeah,
there's still a lot of receivers out here. I like. Holy crap.
Yeah, I like Bateman.
Michael Thomas, even.
Treylon Burks is still there. Thomas is fine. Jacoby Myers, if we're digging deeper. Like, there are plenty of these mid wide receivers that I'm a fan of. Myers in particular. And who's another one? Zay Jones. I love drafting Zay Jones. Myers and Jones are my favorites in this spot.
Yeah, Jones is an interesting one because you know that the offense is still going to be pretty pass heavy. He's probably still going to have, be on the field in 3 wide receiver sets.
In 2 wide receiver sets in the preseason, it was him and Ridley. Kirk was the one rotating off.
Yeah, I don't expect that in preseason. That's preseason though. It's hard to gauge snaps in preseason and how it's going to roll over.
I confirm my biases here, Billy.
If you look at like everybody thought that Josh Jacobs would be cut last year because he played like the first half of that preseason game, and then look what happened. It's one of those you can't put too much weight on preseason. There's certain things you can look into, and yes, it's nice to get a visual, on players, but snaps are one of the things that are so wish-washy in preseason versus real life. Wow, Treylon Burks is still on the board. Michael Thomas is still on the board. Devon Achane, we need to push with the injury and see where he goes. Bateman stacks with Waddle. There's a lot of different ways.
We could stack Jerick McKinnon with T. Higgins.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about McKinnon this year.
Tank Bigsby wouldn't really stack anywhere.
Do
we have any Seattle? No.
I think it's either Burks or Michael Thomas for me here.
Give me Treylon Burks.
Okay, boom, done. Tennessee's got Houston at the end and Seattle in between. They got Houston again.
Yeah, let's talk the narrative. DeAndre Hopkins doesn't last the year, and it's Treylon Burks who's the wide receiver 1 by the end of the season.
No, potentially.
Well, his body just remember from 2018 to 2021, there was a span where Hopkins was on the injury report every single week, but he didn't miss a game. And then he started to miss games the last couple seasons because of the injuries. His body's taken a beating. So I don't know if he's going to last the full season.
It's potential. I mean, Hopkins always seems to play through injuries, and the fact that they went out and signed him makes me think that Tennessee's actually going to want to compete again this year. They're probably going to make a run. They're going to rely on their defense. They're going to rely on Derrick Henry, of course, and then just funnel it through Burks and Hopkins and Chigo, and just try to stay competitive every single game. I think there's enough to go around between those 3 where it's a pretty consolidated target tree for all 3 of them to be relevant. And if in best ball, even better. We don't have to, hit them in the start button every week. And so I still own quite a bit of Treylon Burks and been taking the discount. Like wide receiver 48. Like it's gone too low now, in my opinion.
Well, we can take possibly Samaje Perine to stack with Mike Williams.
I got one in the queue that I'm like set on taking. Kenneth Gainwell with Swift.
Where's he at?
He's 142 on the rank, but he's been climbing. He won't make it back.
Okay. I've got no issue with taking Kenny Gainwell.
And then we stack it with Swift, and now you have the 1 and 2, and you don't even need to worry about what they do every week.
Yeah, they took
Pirine. And they took Pirine anyways. You go with it?
Let's go.
Okay, we're stacked.
Look, what a name. Kenny Gainwell. Like double positive in the last name. Kenny lost bad. You know, you wouldn't want to draft that guy.
Okay. Take a guess where A-Chain goes tonight.
He's not going to make it back to us.
He's not going to make it. He might.
I don't think he does.
They said he's going to do imaging today.
Yeah, we'll find out. If if it's a strained shoulder, that's probably 4 to 6 weeks. He'll probably miss the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But if it's like a collarbone fracture, he could be out for 12 weeks.
Exactly.
And then you're in trouble because that's 8 weeks into the season. Plus the bye week is week 10. They probably won't play him until week 11.
Yeah, I don't think he's really draftable right now tonight.
Great.
Unless...
That hurts my A-Chain shares. Thanks, Theo Greminger, who talked me into some A-Chain lately.
I don't own a lot of A-Chain. I have a total of 7.84%. So it's not nothing, but it's not a lot.
Yeah, I was taking a lot of A-Chain in the 0RB builds, like the Charbonnet, A-Chain, Tank Bigsby's, just smashing those, the Brian Robinsons of the world. I like Brian Robinson this year at his value. I mean, mid-round 9, he went in this draft. Like, he's going to lead the team in rushes. He's probably going to get the goal line. Antonio Gibson is still, like, are we convinced that he's going to get all of the third down work? I don't know. There's a flaw of rational coaching, you know, that exists, and we've seen in the past this coaching staff fall out of favor with Antonio Gibson. Maybe it is Bieniemy who talks Ron Rivera back into, oh, we need to get this player on the field, but there's a world where Antonio Gibson does not deliver on his ADP.
There is a world. Yeah, I agree. There's also a world where Brian Robinson runs the ball 20 times for 40
yards. Fair enough.
He's such a plotter, but he's going to get volume.
Yeah, well, I would plod too if I got shot in the butt. So
yeah, that's the thing. He could definitely maybe have a bit of a spike this year based upon no bullets.
Well, your boy Luke Musgrave from Bend, Oregon, just got selected in the 11th round.
He's been climbing, man.
He has been. He's been getting a lot of work with the ones. The Packers have been using him a lot close to the line of scrimmage, middle of the field stuff. I mean, we know what the history says about rookie tight ends, but he's clearly playing over Tyler Kraft.
Yeah, Kraft is way behind, we're hearing.
And when, Dulcich is falling, like Dulcich is still on the board and Musgrave goes over him. I think that that's fair given that Troutman has been getting snaps and play over Dulcich. Like Dulcich needs to be super efficient when he's actually on the field for him to deliver. And right now I'm concerned. So we haven't taken tight end yet, Billy, and we need to consider it sometime. I mean, I love Hunter Henry as much as the next guy, right? But
there is a lot of late tight ends that I like this year, and that would even go with some of our mini stacks. Like we have Waddle and Likely, who we could add to the mix. There's your boy Hunter Henry. There's
my boy Tyler Conklin.
There's Tyler Conklin still. There's also
Jake Ferguson is getting runs with the one. He's getting positive buzz.
Trey McBride, who I mean, even though Ertz is back, I still like Trey McBride's upside. Hayden Hurst, who's got the tight end position pretty much all to himself, is still there. You got Jake
Cade
Ferguson,
Otton is
who's been
the
doing a lot.
starter.
Cade Otton's the starter, and now with Russell Gage, ACL injuries, probably going to see a slight uptick in total targets. So there's a lot of players that I like at the tight end position. I've been doing a bunch of builds lately where I just kind of select 4 between like rounds 14 and 18, right? And just take 4 guys that I really like, and then just leaving it be. But
you and me both.
There's a lot of options late.
I think Theo felt a little scandalized with how late I pushed tight end when I had him on the Stack Hunters pod last week.
I mean, but you can really do it this year. There's a lot of upside plays late.
Yeah, I mean, Taysom Hill goes really late too, and I know how much you love Taysom Hill.
Oh, God, that guy, I swear to God. Jeff Wilson's still here.
He most certainly is. Jeff Wilson, and then our on-brand Roshan Johnson, right? If we don't, I think that Matt Kelly incentivizes every player profiler team member to talk about Roshan Johnson. And if we don't talk about him, then
let's real quick. Hold up. Roshan aside. If we do suspect A-Chain, okay, at best he's back week 1 or week 2, but if he misses time, Wilson probably climbs 2 or 3 rounds, if not more, right?
Yes.
So does Mostert. Do we want to take maybe potentially the last discount with them and get it?
Yes,
with our
I
Waddle?
think let's go Miami backfield if we can.
Yeah, we could go Waddle, or we could go Mostert and Jeff Wilson.
Beautiful. I love it.
Okay. And then we'd be pretty close to done at running back.
Yeah, and Mostert comes up here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's around this. They both get selected on this turn. I still can't believe that fucking asshole took Jalen Hurts in the middle of the second round. I'm still pissed about it.
Just to mess with us.
He saw us take AJ and he's like, no, you're not doing it. Like, we said it. No one lets anyone do it in this. You can't get it done, man. It's so infuriating.
I'll have to try it on some DK drafts just to see if I can make it fly. I'll send some screenshots if I can pull it off.
Yeah, FFPC, it's like physically impossible. Like, people don't let you do it. A little infuriating.
It's okay. We walked ourselves off the tilt, and we have a pretty strong build.
We do have a strong build. Tajay looked good in that preseason game with his 1 ACL and all. I can't believe people fell for that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The ACL was holding him back, Billy.
That's what it was. Exactly. Jameson Williams still on the board too. People are just done with him.
Well, he injured his hamstring. He's gotten suspended. He got into fights. I love his talent profile, but when Matt Kelly and I were in Connecticut, he was like, Jameson Williams, next bust. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not willing to declare that quite yet. He played on Ohio State and was stuck behind Garrett Wilson, Olave, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Of course you're going to transfer. Like,
yeah. Well, we got it. Do we want to go Mostert and lock it in?
Yeah, let's lock it in. Let's get that Miami.
The other, just want to throw it out there. The only other player that I'm really considering right here would be Rashee Rice. Does go with Higgins week 17. He's looked really good. That's the only other like way I'd go, really.
With how wide receivers been going off the board, I'm fine with trying to push it a little bit.
Okay, I'm fine. We have what, 6 good ones? 7 good ones. Yeah, we don't really need to. Mostert. So we really only have 2 backfields, but we have 5 running backs.
Yeah, we've got Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Philly and Miami. So 3 backfields.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah. And Philly, we know fantasy points are going to be scored in that backfield. And Miami, we saw last year, it can be a bonanza of fantasy points for the Dolphins.
It's a good airplane too, bonanza.
Mm.
Great airplanes, actually. I'm gonna start throwing some tight ends here in the mix. The next question is, where do we want our QB2? I'm fine going all the way down to Tannehill.
Oh, I love Tannehill.
Yeah, great. We just push the Tannehill.
we could dig in the dirt and go some Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, you could go. You could even take. What am I blanking on his name? You could take Desmond Ridder and stack Mac Hollins late.
Oh, let me see. Yeah. Tannehill was one of the players that I talked about in a recent stacking article I wrote for Player Profiler. I said Ryan Tannehill, Treylon, Burks. I said that with Treylon Burks in the lineup last year, Tannehill averaged 42 more passing yards per game. He averaged half a touchdown pass per game more. He averaged 3.7 fantasy points per game more, and was a mid-pack quarterback too last year in games that that Burks played. Without Burks, he was a back-end quarterback too. So it's clear that the existence of Burks in the offense makes Tannehill better.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams that draft Tannehill, I mean, it was Burks has at least in Best Ball Mania in Underdog, it was a 7% stack rate, which was the lowest among all wide receivers and tight ends in the first 12 rounds of drafts. So I know this FFPC, it's 20 rounds. Tannehill gets drafted probably a lot more, but probably not stacked very much either.
He's just not selected because people just assume that they're going to be horrible. And yes, they're probably going to be bottom 5 in the league in pass attempts, but they're still going to try to win the division. And at that point, he has weapons now. It's not like it's just Treylon Burks anymore. Like he has DeAndre Hopkins. They've been utilizing Henry more in the passing game. They added Tajay Spears. Like there's outs for him to be a top.
And Okonkwo is a decent enough tight end. I mean, I definitely gave my bear case for Okonkwo on previous podcasts, but with the value that he's going at right now, you have to be a little bit more in on him. And the efficiency for Ryan Tannehill has been there in the past.
What is the latest that we have seen James Williams go? I'm going to pull it up. I'm curious.
If he comes back around to us, Billy, he's going to be hard to pass up.
I agree. So he's averaging as wide receiver 55 as of late. His chart looks like this steady decline of a cliff. And his latest share ever in the tournament looks about to be like 14, 10, 11 range, which would be about where we're selecting. So we would have arguably the latest share in the tournament or second latest share in the tournament if he makes it all the way back.
And he doesn't stack with anybody, but well.
And he'd be our receiver 8, so it's not like you really have to rely on him with this team.
Nope.
And it's all upside at that point. But we do have other names to consider as well. Osborne, who's going to be on the field, who's going to stack with Kirk Cousins and Addison and Christian Watson for us. We have the potential at tight end to start adding tight ends. You have Hunter Henry, who I know you're high on, and I'm coming around on. You have Hayden Hurst is somebody that we could potentially think of to put on this roster as well. And then we could
I'm just throwing some players in our queue too.
Yeah, you could talk about it. We're not recording live.
Yeah, so I threw Kyler Murray into correlate with AJ Brown week 17. Obviously there's risk with Arizona not being good, but I also think they might not play him, but at the same time, you know that Jonathan Gannon is a pretty competitive guy. Went to St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland, same high school that I went to. So I don't think there's a quitting bone in Gannon's body, and we'll see what the pathway is for the Cardinals. But at that point, it might be interesting. Might be a spike week possibility, and he'll be more than a year removed from the ACL tear. Jaden Reed is in the queue to correlate with Green Bay, to stack with Watson, correlate with Minnesota, and Ryan Tannehill to stack. Trey McBride with the Arizona correlation as well is there. So there are some later plays, obviously, that I've gone through. We're not necessarily taking those at this point, but Hunter Henry goes off, which is a bummer. Tyler Conklin goes off. That's also a bummer. Yeah, two of my boys. Are you sure this isn't live? Because
Not live. They see the two teams down here at the end with no tight ends. People are starting to just load up now to make your teams weaker.
Yeah.
You already have one team with 4 tight ends. You have 1, 2, 3 teams with 3 tight ends already. It's a pretty heavy tight end draft.
They're loading up. Did we push it too far, do you think, already?
No.
Okay.
I think we might take one on the way back. I think if Jameson Williams is there, it's going to be hard to pass on him.
It's going to be very hard to pass on J-Mo at this spot.
Yeah, J-Mo would be hard to pass on. Honestly, if he goes,
we might get J-Mo.
yeah, it's pretty late. This is crazy. Round 14. There's only like 3 shares in round 14 the entire tournament. And we got him.
Yep.
I think we just take him.
Yes.
Okay, done deal. Jameson Williams. Twist my arm
And
around.
we're
14.
done at wide receiver.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we could potentially go one more because technically we have 7.5.
Fair. Although we're, losing out on Jameson Williams because of, round 14 pick, our team was already in trouble. But
yeah, it's not the end of the world. I think Hayden Hurst is at the top of my board on the way back.
I like Hayden Hurst. He's probably going to get targeted a lot.
We could take Tannehill on the way back and be done at quarterback too, so we don't get blocked there. There's still plenty of tight ends. There's Kate Otten still. There's Likely still. How many quarterbacks are to our right? He's got 2. He's got 2. He's got 2. He's got 3. He's got 2. He's got 2. He's got 3. He's got 1. How many quarterbacks are ahead of Tannehill? Murray, Young, Howell. That's it.
I'm throwing Taysom Hill into our queue just to mess with you.
I mean, I take him. He's still going to get probably 30 to 40 rushing attempts. He'll probably see 2%, 3% of target share.
He'll have three spike weeks this year.
That's right. He might get some pass action. We don't know. I'm glad someone fell on that sword. There we go.
Someone took Kyler.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. There goes Hayden Hurst anyways. He's the only person I was really considering above Tannehill right now.
Yeah, we can go Tannehill. I'm fine with that.
And just be done at the position. Okay. Tannehill's done at quarterback. And now we can we're going to go back-to-back rounds of tight end. Probably 3 straight at the minimum.
Probably the way to go. Yeah, with the other teams having loaded up already, we're probably going to have some decent tight ends come.
Team 11 probably takes one here. Although he really needs a receiver. He's got 4 receivers. And one's Adam Thielen and the other one's Romeo.
Yeah, that's not too sharp. Thielen was one of the worst wide receivers in the league last year, too. I don't know if this guy is good at evaluating wide receiver talent, but
does have Deontay and CD, which I like, but that's about it.
That is about it. He went Dallas.
And why do you don't need 3 quarterbacks when Lamar and Dak are your 1 and 2. I don't like that build.
Nope.
I
like taking Dak as my quarterback 1 in a lot of drafts.
Me as well.
It's a nice stack getting the Dallas CD Lamb. I'd moved Tony Pollard up pretty high in my rankings. I'm glad he went as the running back 4 here.
Yeah, Pollard's my let me see. Is it RB6? RB7 behind Chubb.
I re-listened to the Fantasy Pros podcast I did in January, and one of my bold calls was that Tony Pollard would be running back 1 overall.
Nice. So I love that. I mean, you could see it. That's a great moonshot.
Yeah. And I also said that Bijan was going to be a top 5 running back. That's a freezing cold take now.
Yeah, not hot at all.
Oh, how the times have changed. It's nice listening back to those calls and just saying like, oh, what was I thinking? Or, oh, what was my reasoning behind that? Or like, I don't know. In January, I was big into James Cook and then I like cooled on him for a bit and now I'm back in on him. So
I do the same thing with my draft boards. I like to look at my older draft boards and look at it and try to put myself in that mentality again and say, what was I thinking here? Why did I take these players? And then, of course, I do it with a lot of draft boards, but not just the older ones, but the mid and the lates, and just to get, the mindset flowing, your creative juices going, and try to think about the way the offense might look. And so I never like to just draft it and forget about it like most best balls do, right? I like to go in and look at everything I do, and like once a month I'll go in and look at like 20, 30 teams and just kind of analyze them.
It's also interesting looking at the progression of exposures and exposure shares. So, earlier I was big in on what were some players, like I had 20-something% of Fournette, and now I've like just completely not drafted any Fournette lately because I thought he would sign or find somewhere he would be, and maybe he will sign with Cleveland, or maybe we get news from Miami and A-Chain's going to be out for a while, and then
Fournette it's getting to the point where it's a little worrisome now.
Right. And same thing with Kareem Hunt. Like I know you were drafting a lot of Kareem Hunt. I had been drafting some Kareem Hunt, but not signing at this stage in the game. We're only a couple weeks removed from the season. Even if they sign somewhere, it might take a little bit to get them acclimated with the team that they sign with.
Yeah, especially because they're both very active in the passing game. Like they can run up the middle pretty easily on any given play, right? They're going to tell them run off the left guard, run off the right guard, right? But the passing downs and the blocking and that piece is going to take some time. There goes Kate Otten. I was hoping he'd make it back, actually. Damn.
Well, that's the 11 guy you were worried about.
Yep, there it goes. I think we should be pretty good on tight end up until our next pick, which I think it's probably likely with the Miami that we have, because Baltimore and Miami are week 17.
Yes. I've been drafting a lot of likely. He was the PFF graded number 2 tight end each of his last 2 seasons in college.
He's really good.
He is really good.
That's why I'm lower though. Yeah, it's why I'm lower on Bateman, lower on Odell Beckham, lower on Zay than like most people are, because I think Likely's going to have a pretty significant role. I still think they run a lot of 12 personnel.
And he's good. That's the thing, is he did half of his. There were, I think, 6 or 7 games where there were 5 games where he had at least 5 targets. In 3 of them, Andrews still played.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just he stepped into a handcuff tight end role and was utilized. No, he's
standalone value.
Right. And so I like him this late, and I agree with you there. It's going to be a question of how will the new offensive coordinator Monken, how much 12 personnel is he going to run given the addition of all of these wide receivers?
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, I think it's just hard to keep somebody off the field when they're that good.
I don't mind putting in Likely, or if there's another tight end that you think Likely will come back to us.
No, I think Likely's the pick. And then we'll see who comes back. Because I'm still fine with Trey McBride. I'd be fine taking Taysom. Jelani Woods is interesting to me. I'm
okay with Jelani Woods. I like Noah Fant late. I like that in the queue.
Yep. Fant's in the queue too.
If we don't get Trey McBride, if we get sniped on him, I don't mind taking some Zach Ertz. Maybe not necessarily for Arizona, but maybe he gets cut or traded somewhere mid-season if someone needs a tight end, and then he becomes fantasy relevant.
Yep. And Arizona stacks with our Philly.
He does.
So we got Ertz or McBride as a backup. So we got some outs there. And Ertz is cleared for contact, ready to go.
Yeah, I'm not super optimistic, though.
I think he gets traded.
I mean,
I called that in I think it was April. I said when he's healthy, I could see them just trading him, moving
Kelsey
on.
goes down. Imagine Kelsey goes down. Kansas City's not going to roll with Noah Gray.
I mean, Gray's actually kind of good.
Gray is okay.
There goes Trey McBride. Very next pick. Snap picked him.
Yep.
He's got his 3 tight ends. He might hit a 4th on the way back, but he might be okay with those 3 now.
Yeah, I don't mind Taysom Hill. or Noah Fant or
I don't own a lot of Noah Fant, but at this point, we're getting pretty slim pickings at tight end.
do you think Troutman actually gets a role in Denver? If we're moving Dulcich down significantly, Troutman might be the guy.
I'm not sold on Troutman.
He's a former 3rd round pick.
And he's a former Peyton guy. I know that, but
Yeah. Who's been getting a lot of work in the preseason.
I think we could push Troutman.
I think we can push him too. And he would also work with our Mike Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that week 17 game.
Yeah, out of University of Dayton, Adam Troutman. Go Flyers. Shout out
I can't
to
believe that Alex Pierce is still on the. Thank you. They took him. I was like, he found him. Like, why was he still on the clock on the board?
Well, Alec Pierce isn't very good, but sure.
I mean, he's going to be the number 2 receiver. He's going to be on the field every set.
Yeah, same thing with Romeo Dubs. He's discount Romeo Dubs.
I'm good here. Noah Fant or Zach Ertz.
Let's go Fant.
Okay, locked.
I like Fant. Okay, let's take a step back. Do we have any bye week issues or anything?
Not at tight end, not at quarterback, and running back. Yeah, we got 4 on. we need.
But we'll be okay.
We got 4 on week 10 bye on running back, so you only got 1 running back week 10. But it's total points, so it's not like it really matters.
Yeah, maybe if we do take late running backs, we consider one. Well, we're going 4 tight ends here, yeah?
Yeah, I think 4 tight ends. And then the last one leaves it up to us if we go running back or receiver.
Yeah. We'll see who's there, who can fit.
Yeah.
Maybe a correlation or stack. Maybe some late round picks.
Yeah.
Dart throws and deep cuts, right? Bradley's deep cut of the week.
Deep cut of the week.
Brought to you by Grocery Outlet Bargain Market.
the good old days.
That was excellent.
It was.
What a throwback.
It was a way for me to write off beer. It was awesome.
Oh, Tyree Jackson. Let's go, baby. Did you see he led all of Philadelphia receivers in yards?
In like 4th team reps or what?
3rd team, but yeah. Look,
he's so athletic, but I don't think he's ever going to get a chance.
No, he was stuck behind Goddard, and then he's been really unlucky. He tore his ACL,
injured.
He fractured his back, and he worked his way back from both of them, and is now still on the team. So he's projected to make the 53 over Jack Stoll right now.
All right, I want to talk about a tight end that I think he pretty goes free in drafts, like round 20 every single time, maybe round 19.
Cole Turner.
No, that's another one. Actually, that's another sneaky one.
Okay.
But Austin Hooper.
Okay.
Because they let go of OJ Howard, so now it's just Austin Hooper and rookie Mayer. Mayer's going. Where'd he go here?
He went in round 16.
So Mayer probably eventually takes over that role, but you'd have to believe it's probably Austin Hooper to start the season. And at the very least, they're both going to be involved. I don't think Mayer gets the full role to himself as a rookie. What's your projections for Hooper? I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull up the Las Vegas.
You're talking about a round 20 tight end in tight end premium league. That's a potential starter.
Fair. I have Hooper at 96 points and half PPR, 11% share, 49 receptions, 500 yards, and between 3 and 4 touchdowns.
Okay. So we're about the same. I have him for 11.5%, which is about 70 targets.
Yep. 68 for me.
I have him for 490 yards, and I have him for 2.7 scores.
507 yards and 3.6 scores.
That could be the same stat line for Trey McBride, Noah Fant, Michael Mayer, Tyler Conklin, Hunter Henry.
It's not going to be Tyler Conklin. Conklin's going to beast, but
I'm just saying,
I won't let Conklin catch a stray there, Billy.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities. When most of these guys are going between rounds 14 and 17, you can get this guy in round 20.
You know, you've talked me into drafting some more Austin Hooper. Let's
Well, at least in this format, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
I'm not
here we
doing it in
go.
underdog. Like, fuck that.
No,
But it's,
no.
on FFPC. Why not? What happens if, and this is, of course, now we're talking about contingent value. We've heard scuttle that what if they trade Renfro? That's 12 to 14% target share that's available. What happens if, Devontae Adams gets injured? What happens if Jacoby Myers gets injured? We know that Jacoby Myers has had trouble scoring touchdowns. So it's Devontae Adams in the end zone and Mayer and Hooper. Like there's a lot of outs.
It's gross. And what if Josh Jacobs doesn't report? Remember, Josh Jacobs is still not there.
There's a lot of outs. That's what I'm saying.
And maybe it's Amir Abdullah's been getting some work.
Do you remember when he tricked us all into thinking he was the next Barry Sanders on that preseason run? I still remember that run. That run was so good.
Do you remember? I think it was. It's not Hard Knocks. It was there was an Amazon Prime video that featured the Cardinals, and it was their draft, and they featured the GM and the coach of the Cardinals at the time, where they were sad and upset that they weren't able to draft Amir Abdullah, and instead had to take the consolation pick of David Johnson.
Yeah, I do remember this. All right.
Well, David Johnson's out of the league and Amir Abdullah is still playing, so I don't know. Maybe
Jelani Woods, Taysom Hill for the first pick, and then Hooper on the way back.
Let's go Taysom.
Okay. Go for the upside play.
Yeah. Supposedly Juwan Johnson's been crushing.
Yeah, I've been hearing that as well. But he's a real tight end.
He is a real I was worried with like Foster Moreau. That's why I had not been drafting Johnson for a bit. But with the news, I think I'll be drafting a little bit more Juwan over the next month.
Yeah, he has been crushing. Well, we'll make our next pick, and then we will end the podcast because I have a main event coming up, and I got to get a bite to eat, get a beverage before I get another 2-hour draft in. So we'll make one more pick. We'll call it quits. We'll post the final pick inside the board, and it's in the final pick will be posted to Twitter for people to come take a look at it and watch the stream tomorrow when this is actually posted. But Bradley, always a pleasure to draft with you. Why don't you tell everybody what you're working on here at Player Profiler, what's coming up for you, and any other exciting news and where to find you.
Yeah, we'll be launching the news desk here very soon, so be on the lookout. We've got a lot of exciting plans on that front, and my Stack Hunters pod usually drops on Tuesdays, but this week with the Deep End Invitational, it'll be pushed to the Deep End Invitational, which I'll be a part of on Thursday, so you'll be able to check that out. And yeah, it's a lot of fun here on Player Profiler. You can follow me on Twitter at FFStalder. I put out content there. And yeah, Billy, it's been great drafting with you. And I'm grateful that we're able to yet again pod together on the Dominator.
Yes, always a pleasure, Bradley. We are on deck. We got Austin Hooper ready to be selected. If this guy takes Austin Hooper, I'm going to break my keyboard because we've been talking about it. It's a sneaky late round draft pick. We need another tight end. Although we could just take Jelani Woods and I could keep my keyboard. So that's always an option as well. But
it was $125 keyboard,
It might, it is. It's like Corsair, it's RBG. So it is not a cheap keyboard. So it's a gaming keyboard. I play one game still, Bradley. Oh, he took Jelani Woods.
Jelani Woods.
Try to blog us. Austin Hooper. Boom. That's it,
right,
folks. Thanks for joining us on the Dominator. We will be back next week for another draft. And then I believe, we got 2 more weeks of the Dominator before week 1 kicks off. So we'll be drafting for the next couple weeks. And they'll be posted, of course, the next day after the draft. Always a pleasure to draft with Bradley. Make sure to get out and get our draft kit, folks, to get ready for your home league drafts. They have the one-page analyst cheat sheets for myself, as well as Dario and as well as Theo. They have PPR, they have tight end premium, they have Superflex, everything that you'll need for your draft. I've been updating those at least once a week. I'll start updating them twice a week now that we're getting really close to draft time. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you all back next week on the Dominator.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you, allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.